When our guest today first arrived in Japan, she wasn't prepared for the silence, the stares, or the sudden loneliness of being thousands of miles from home. But in that silence, she found clarity. In the stares, she found confidence. And in the loneliness, she found herself. Today's episode isn't about relocation alone. It's about becoming emotionally intelligent, learning to stand tall, and rebuilding a life in a country where nothing feels familiar. Today, she sits with me not just to tell a relocation story, but to reveal a doorway many Africans still don't know exists. And guys, you should stay to the end because Shallydee is going to tell us how to move to Japan, the exact requirements, where to legitimately find teaching jobs, how to avoid the scams, and life as an African in Japan. This is Two Continents, One Mic, and today the mic is in Japan. Shallydee, welcome to Two Continents, One Mic. Konnichiwa.
Hi, konnichiwa. I'm so excited to be on your podcast today. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. I think I ran into your page on TikTok scrolling and I was like, wow, she's just dropping gems. And I'm like, I never even I know about Japan, but I didn't know there were as many like Africans. But they always say Nigeria is everywhere. So if there's any country where there's no Nigerian, they say run.
Run.
That's
Yeah, that's
interesting.
true.
So, Shallydee, for someone who has just clicked on this conversation, why should they stay? What are they going to walk away with from everything you've learned about relocating to Japan?
Well, they will learn a lot. They will learn about the culture, how to live in Japan. Also exposure. I mean, most people get the wrong information about Japan from just what they watch online. Most times I see some videos, I'm like, no, this is not true. This is not it. So when you live in Japan or when you watch this podcast, you will get a first-hand information about what's going on here, not what you have been watching on TikTok and on YouTube and other social media platforms. Yeah, so that's it.
That's good.
Also, you get to learn about the culture. Yeah, the culture is very important. Yeah, especially if you plan to live in this country, you need to be aware of the culture and how you can adapt to fit in, how to integrate in the culture, something like that.
Yeah. And before the websites, before the TEFL certificate, who were you? What was happening in your life at the moment that you thought maybe I should actually move to Japan?
I was just a young teacher who was just trying to, figure out life. Before I came to Japan, I never heard about Japan. In fact, Japan was not in my list. Well, of course, I know Japan as a country, one of the countries somewhere, but I think for Nigerians, we know more about China. When you tell a Nigerian, oh, China, we can relate because there are so many people who travel to China, who do businesses in China. But Japan was just one country that, I really did not know so much about. And it was not even in my list because I wanted to go to the UK or maybe to France or somewhere. But yeah, so I mentioned France because I studied French. So I really wanted to travel to France. So I really wanted to Japa. I wanted to leave the country. As a teacher, it was, teachers in Nigeria, you know how it is living and working in Nigeria as a teacher. The pay was not just it, the respect, so it's not just it. So I just wanted to leave. I just wanted to, leave to learn more, to, be better, to have a stable life, something like that. Yeah, so I was just a young teacher trying to figure out my life. And just one day I was in bed and a friend just sent me a link, just like that, because he knows I have been trying to leave and it wasn't easy. And so I just clicked on it. It was about how to move to Japan as an English teacher. So I clicked on it and I watched the video. It was a video by Waka Waka Doctor. He had an interview with a Nigerian who was in Japan. So I watched it and I was like, you know what? I have all the requirements. So let me give it a try. So I applied and it just went smoothly. And after like 6 months, I was in Japan, just like that. So,
Wow. In 6 months.
yes, 6 months. It was very
That is
easy for
fast.
me. And so I started learning about the culture because really, I didn't really know so much about Japan from outside Japan. So coming here from my company, of course, they trained us on how to go about the job,
Yeah.
also how to live in Japan as a foreigner, because you really need to learn about how to integrate, how they do things, how to, just respect the culture and fit in somehow. So that was how my journey started. And this was in April 2023.
Wow, that was rapid. Would you say it was out of fear or curiosity that made you make this move?
I would say, yeah, curiosity, because when I told people I was traveling to Japan, they were really surprised, like, what's happening in Japan? I was discouraged. They're like, what's happening in Japan? Like, why Japan? Why not the UK? Why not Canada? Because at that time, people were really traveling to Canada. They were going to the UK. They were going to the US. And Nigerians, when you travel to
Yeah.
those countries, they feel, wow, your life is good. Your life is better. You are now rich or something. And when you tell them you're going to a different country, they feel like, what's the difference between that country and Nigeria? That's what some of them say. They were not really informed, or they are not really informed about,
Yeah.
things happening in Japan.
I don't know if you've ever had this conversation also where we talk about depending on the country you relocated to, it's kind of like a hierarchy. It's like, oh,
Exactly.
this person is in Yankee. We just put this one over there.
Exactly.
This one is in China. Okay. Or you hear us when we went to another African country. This guy. But I think the reality, what people don't understand is like sometimes you don't relocate because life is hard. Sometimes you relocate because your spirit wants to grow bigger than your environment. You want to see more. And not all opportunities are equal when it comes to this relocation journey. And something I've learned in this podcast is like there's so many amazing countries to be in the world. So I definitely applaud you for being brave. Because not everybody
Uh,
can bite
I
that
mean,
bullet.
exactly. At some point, I was like, do I go or do I just reject the offer? Because it was a job offer. And before I wanted to go to the UK to study, to do my master's, and that was
Yeah.
expensive. You know, and if you are leaving Nigeria to travel to the UK to study, it's so expensive. Most people borrow money
Yes.
and they go to the
Yes.
UK, they pay back. I was like, do I want to live that life, or do I just want to go and take a job and start working and earning and trying to get better with my life? So I just had to weigh the option, and I spoke to a friend who was like, take it and leave. Leave. Because like, don't think about this, just leave. And so yeah, I took the bold step to come here, and yeah, I have no regrets at all.
That
I
is
have no
amazing.
regrets at all. Yeah, that's it.
In 2023, right? You started this process. What would you say shocked you the most for you personally about the process in that time when you were doing yours? Because I'm sure some of it has changed now. So at that time in 2023, what shocked you about the process?
The first thing that shocked me was how I wouldn't say how affordable it was for me. I
Hmm.
mean, processing my visa from Nigeria. In fact, I paid 13,000 naira for the visa. No, 10,500 naira for the
In
visa.
20, that's like 2 years ago. I mean,
Yeah,
2, 3 years ago,
two, 3
10
years. Yeah.
for a visa. Wow.
Compared to the UK, how much people were paying to get a UK or American visa, it was very, very affordable. The only thing that really that I spent more on was my flight.
Yeah.
And my flight to Abuja, because I had to go. In fact, the money for the flight was more expensive than the visa itself, from Lagos to Abuja, because the Japanese embassy was in Abuja.
It's in
And then I think
Abuja.
it was 60,000 naira for the flight. So I had to pay that to go get a visa of 10,000 naira. So that was
Wow.
very shocking. It was very, and the thing is, if you don't get the visa, they won't even take your money. They won't pay for it. So you go to the
No way.
embassy.
No, say that again. Sorry.
No,
If
no,
you
if you don't,
don't,
yeah, get the
yeah, go
visa, if
ahead.
they don't issue you a Japanese visa, they will not take your money. They won't even accept it.
Ah,
So,
America.
so that was it. So when I went to get my visa, I was just sitting outside with my money. I was like, God, please let them ask for this money. Because if they don't ask for your money, just know that they did not give you a visa. That was it.
This is the first time I'm hearing of a place where you're trying to relocate and you're begging that please take the money.
Take my money.
In fact, taking the money means I have jackpot. That is interesting. I did not know that. I wish, because you hear sometimes, like I read online, someone would apply 9 times to go to America, and I
Yeah.
know that is not cheap. And sometimes they
Mm-mm.
use agents and everybody's collecting their fees. I'm like, 9 times. I'm like, at some point, these countries, if you're not going to give the visa, like you said, then there's no reason. You can have like a small fee for application process, but not like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, pay this large amount. It's actually absorbed.
Yeah, so that
Yeah,
was very shocking for me. It was the relocation process was not so expensive. It was very affordable. I didn't have to go borrow money here to pay for one thing or the other. It was very affordable and it was
that's
shocking because, you know,
yeah. I'm in shock just hearing this because I did not know that it can, like, that was even a process that, hey, hang on, if we don't give you the visa you can keep your money, but if we do give you the visa, here's 10-5. Very good information. So let's slow down a little bit, right? And I want to ask something practical. Someone listening right now is thinking, could I actually qualify for Japan? Can you walk me through like the exact requirement, like step by step, that someone can, take a screenshot and be like, I'm going to follow this at least to start the process?
okay, so the first is as an English teacher, I tell people you need to learn how to speak English.
Yes.
That is the first step because I have met someone whom I kind of, guided, but when she got there, she said, I didn't get the job. And she told me, oh, I know it's because I have an Igbo accent. She said it herself. So having an accent, it's not bad if you have an accent, but you're going there to teach English. So you should be able to speak, not so
Yeah.
much grammar. Not, you should also know that the Nigerian English you speak does not qualify. So if you're used to speaking the Nigerian English, well, you may have a problem.
No.
So the first step is just know how to speak English. And the
Okay.
next, I did a course, the TEFL course, that's teaching
Hmm.
English as a foreign language. And for me, I did it free online. I got the certificate and I applied with it. So I didn't have to pay money for that. So if you can do the course, have the certificate, it will be good for you. So some companies may not ask for it, but I always advise people just do the course and get the certificate just in case. Speak English, do the course, and you have to have a bachelor's degree. That is very important. At least a bachelor's degree. Then you can apply.
Okay.
Yeah, having teaching experience is not really important. Well, not exactly, because I've seen people who studied engineering that are teachers here. I've seen people who
Hmm.
have never taught before that are teachers here. So your discipline does not really matter. I studied French and I'm here. And yeah, I was a teacher back home, which it's also an added advantage.
Okay.
It gave me an edge. But like I said, I've met people who never taught before who are now teaching in Japan. So if you have taught before, that is good. But if you haven't, you can still give it a try. So yeah, so if you have all of these, then you can just go ahead and apply.
And when you said yours happened in 6 months, like, was it just like back to back, like different requirements that you were like checking off and then led you to getting approved and ready to move in 6 months?
So I had all the requirements. When I
Okay.
watched the video, the only thing I did was just to go online and take the TEFL course because
Hmm.
I have a bachelor's degree. I was teaching then, I'm still teaching now. What else? I had the basic requirements. you don't need to have too much. Once you have a bachelor's degree, you can speak English. You can take the TEFL course. If you have teaching experience, it's good. So you can just go on and apply. So when I went online, I saw the form, I applied. I also let them know the reason I would like to work in Japan. So that's another thing that, they really want to know why you want to
Uh,
live and work in Japan. So you need to let your recruiters know your reasons. So I just went, filled the form and submitted. And after a month, I was contacted for an interview, just like that. And yeah, there were phases of the interview, the first phase, the second phase. And at the end of the day, I was given a job. I even had two offers by two different companies. So it's apply to different companies. That's another thing. When applying, you don't need to apply to just one company. Try as much as possible to apply to as many companies as possible. And after a month, yeah, I was contacted and interviewed by two companies and I was given a job. So I had to choose the one with, the best offer.
you got to run the numbers always.
Yes.
So, job search, right? Take me to the moment you discovered these websites, because you had a couple you talked about, Gaijin Ports, Daibo, company specific like GABA, Borderlink, Joy Talk.
Mhm.
What were the three? What would you say are the three most important job platforms? Because you said some you can get from outside the country, and some you have to be in Japan.
Yes. So for the companies that recruit from outside Japan, like Borderlink is number one, very popular here in Japan and even outside Japan. And they also respond to your application, to your email. If you send a message, if you send an application, you get a response if you qualify or not. So Borderlink Interact is another one, very popular as well. And I also say Gaijin Ports. Gaijin Ports is a website where you see different job offers from different companies. So the first two companies I mentioned are the companies you can go to their website to apply directly. But when you go to Gaijin Ports, you see different companies looking for English teachers and you can apply through Gaijin Ports. And like you mentioned, Joy Talk, we have Joy Talk, we have
Yeah.
Otia Central, that's another company. We also have Hard Corporation. There are so many. So the ones that recruits from inside Japan, we have Nova companies. All these companies recruit within Japan as well. They have some parts. Yeah, if you go on their website, you'll see applications for those within Japan, those in Japan, and those from outside Japan. So you just choose where you are and just apply.
Mhm.
But it's easier to get a job when you are in Japan, actually. It's actually easier.
Easier. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I will put all these websites in the description. So definitely anyone watching can check it out. So when it comes to the interview, how did you prepare for the interview? Because I feel like that's kind of like, yeah, you can do all of that. You can get to that process and, mess up the interview. You did talk about accent, but other than that, Nigerians, we know how to phone. So we can mask some of these accents. But when it comes to the interview, I remember you did say you were trying to talk about how you would coach someone. There was a class, like they had them do like some kind of
Demo.
class where they had to record class demo. So what advice would you give to anyone so that they can prepare for that kind of interview? Or what would you say that Nigerians that you've worked with or spoken to, they usually get wrong?
Okay, so how I prepared for my interview was so simple. First of all, I was early because Japanese people are very time conscious. They really love punctuality. So,
Punctuality.
yes.
Yes.
And second, I dressed professionally. I just expressed myself. I was also conscious of my pronunciation because I knew it was an interview. So I had to be serious. They'll ask you question, oh, what do you think about this? What they are looking for is how you speak. They just want to listen to you, how you speak, how you pronounce your words. It's more than that. Those are the things they're looking at for, not really about what you're talking about. So I knew that, and I was conscious of my words. That is very important for those who are planning to, have an interview someday. And that was the first phase. The second was when we had a class demonstration. So for that phase, what they look out for is how interesting you are, because
Mm.
the kids want or they want teachers that are not boring. They want kids to love English. So the English teacher has to be, we say genki, like you have to be fun, you have to be interesting, you have to play games. So, yes, so in your class demonstration videos, yes, you are teaching, but they want to see that you can teach in a fun and interesting way. You know how to present English in an interesting way to the students. So that was what I had in mind when I was doing my class demonstration. And you know what? Something happened when I was doing my demonstration interview in Nigeria. Because of the time difference, I had to do it at 1 a.m. Nigerian time. And while I was teaching and doing what NEPA, poof, everywhere was dark. What? Oh. So the interviewer was like, "Are you okay? Is everything okay?" And then my sister went so fast to turn on the gen. And then after like some minutes, the power came back. I was like, and then I continued. I was like, "What? My village people." Wow. So yeah, that was what happened. So those are the basic things to look out for during the interview.
That Nepal experience, that's I got the
Wow, I didn't
sickness.
expect it.
So let's talk about the dark side of this, right? And when I say
Mm,
it's dark, is because where there are dreams, there are also scammers. So
mm.
what are the top red flags Africans should watch out for when applying for a job in Japan?
Number one, no company will ask you to pay money
Okay.
before you're interviewed. But sometimes, most times, they'll ask if you have a certain amount of money in your account. If you're able to pay for your flight by
Okay.
yourself, if you can afford to relocate by yourself. And if you can do that, they can also ask, and if you, okay, that's at the beginning of the process before they go further to interview you. I know Borderlink did that. They ask, okay, it's even in the form, while filling the application form, they'll ask, after paying your flights, will you have 600,000 yen? And that is because when you come here, no one's going to give you money. They don't pay you. In fact, you're not going to receive your first pay until the end of the second month.
Wow. Ooh.
So you have to pay for your apartment, you have to pay for your feeding, everything for like 2 months. So they want to be sure you have that money in your account. So that's what they
You
will
can
ask you.
survive. Okay.
Yes. So if you say yes, you do, then they can go ahead to interview you. And if you get the job, they can invite you. You can come to Japan. But they won't ask you to pay money. So that's the
Up
first red
front.
flag.
Okay.
Yes. Also, I during the interview, you cannot be interviewed by an African. It's hard. And a Nigerian. So a lady reached out to me. She said she paid 4 million naira. This was about 2 years ago, thereabout. 4 million naira to someone who just gave her I don't know how he did it. He's a Nigerian as well. So I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how he went about the whole interview and everything. And he gave her an offer letter and everything. And she sent it to me. It looked real, but the process was not really genuine. I don't think it was genuine
Yeah.
because I went through that process. I didn't have to pay any money. I was not interviewed by Africans. I'm not trying to be racist. I'm not saying they're not Africans. There are no Africans who can interview. Just that most times you'll be interviewed by the HR team. And most times they are, yeah, you can have Africans, you can have Japanese, you can have, different nationalities, but not Africans, not like core Africans.
Primarily would just be the ones on the panel.
Yes, exactly. So it's it's a red flag. Those are the major red flags you should look out for. Number one, money. No one's going to ask you to pay anything. I did not pay a dime to anyone until I got here. In fact, I got here, I just had to pay for my flights, pay my landlord for my apartment. I was even paid, of course. I came to work. So they'll pay you. You're not to pay them to get a job. So
I know.
yeah.
When I
So
hear things like that online, I'm always like raising an eyebrow. So, guys, if someone claims they can fast track your Japan visa for a fee, run.
That's
Yeah,
true.
don't agree to that. Um, I think one of the things I always say is like these countries are developed countries. You can
Mm,
call the embassy and someone will pick up the phone. You can
yeah,
email the embassy and they would respond to you.
that's
So
true.
you have to do some of this work yourself. You're paying all this money. If you give that opportunity for someone, you're the one opening yourself to be scammed because it doesn't cost anything to get on and put dear blah blah blah, ask whatever question you want from the embassy, wait, worse
Mm,
maybe a week, they will respond to you eventually, but you at
yeah,
least you know what the truth is.
that is true.
Now you've gotten the job, 6 months time, touchdown, Tokyo, is that where you landed?
Yes, Narita, Tokyo. Yeah.
Nori- Norita, okay, landed Tokyo. First, wait, how long was that flight from Nigeria?
Hey, it was about 22 hours. I think so. Yeah, about. And I think the first stop was in Ethiopia, and then from Ethiopia to Seoul, South Korea,
Mm-hmm.
before, yeah, Japan. So it was
Japan.
very long. But the funny thing was, because of I was so excited, I did not really feel I didn't feel stressed. I never had jet lag. I just came to the hotel and started my life. I was like, oh, I'm in Japan. Let's do this. The same day I landed was the same day I had my training. And just like that, we
Wow.
started working just like that. Training. The next day was training. We had to wake up at 8 a.m. Yeah, the venue at 9. Just like that. Yeah.
Did you have to go to like any Japanese class to kind of have like an idea of like learn a little bit of Japanese, or you just like when I reach there we'll continue?
So before I left Nigeria, the company was sending me emails, and they were also holding classes, like trainings. They
Okay.
would tell you the life in Japan, what to expect. We had some Japanese classes, just short classes, how to say hello in Japan, numbers in Japan, stuff like that.
Okay.
So one of the days we had like a full Japanese class. Nothing so serious. They'll just tell you just
Mhm.
how to say hello, how to introduce yourself in Japanese. Because when you go to the school for the first time, you have to introduce yourself to the teachers, the students, the principal, just how to do all of that. But no
Okay.
core class like that. Nothing so serious. You have to learn that
Oh,
on
okay.
your own.
But now you're an expert now.
No,
You just give
no,
us.
that is not true. The language is difficult.
It is. Well, I think a lot of the Asian languages are, for me, it's reading them. A lot
Yeah.
of characters that I
Mhm.
don't know. It would take some challenge learning it. But tell me, your first 30 days in Japan, what was it like? The emotions, the culture shock, the moments. You said you landed and the next day you went to work, but for like 30 days, that first month, what was it
Yeah.
like?
So I landed Japan, and that same day I had my training, and it lasted for like a week. We had trainings for like 5 days. And after 5 days, we had to go to our cities. So they'll just send you, okay, you've been posted to this
Oh,
city. You have to find your way. Yeah, I had a coordinator whom I could call and all of that, but no one is there to hold you and say, okay, this is how you go. Just like that. And that was when I knew that, wow, I was really on my own, because back then at the hotel, I met some Nigerians, some other people from Africa. So it was quite interesting. But after the
okay.
training, we had to go to different cities. So everybody finds your way. And I couldn't speak the language. The train, I didn't know how to navigate the train station, how to, it was really confusing. Like, when I got to my city, I got to my prefecture first. Then when I got to my prefecture, so prefecture is just like a state, just like you are in Lagos State.
Okay.
So you land Lagos airport. Now you have to go to Lekki or
Oh,
Surulere. You have to
okay.
find your way. So yeah, so when I got to my prefecture, I had to find my city. And it was countryside. So it was, wow, it was a lot. I remember that I shared it in one of my videos. And when I got there, that was when I started crying. I, I was trying to figure out how to, like, oh my God, I was so discouraged. so frustrated because no one knew how to speak English. No one could speak English. And my Japanese level was very, very low. So I just started crying. I didn't know what
Voila.
to do. So I saw an American, a Black American lady, and I walked up to her. She was a tourist, but she told me, you know what, you can go ask this person. She directed me to go to one of the officials at the train station there. I used my translator then. But at first I could have just, asked, right? But I could have just used my translator, right? The Google Translate just to
Translate.
communicate. But then that confidence was not there yet because I was a bit nervous. Like
Yeah.
I stopped a few people, and they were like, "Ah, they don't understand English. They don't know." So that really discouraged me. So
Yeah.
I really did not know what to do. That was when I started crying. But when I went to the official, he just directed me. And of course, the truth is, I was able to find my city because Japan is becoming foreigner friendly. So the
Okay.
signpost in the train station had English translation. So Japanese and English, Japanese, English. And on the train, they make announcements in Japanese and English.
That's
And
nice.
yeah, I had an app which could, that app, you just need to enter where you're going to, where you are at, and where you're going to, and to tell you, okay, take this train, you can stop here. I could read. So that kind of helped me. But honestly, the train station is very big. The train station in Japan is very big. Some people still miss their way. They still get lost till today because it's very big. So I was able to find my city, but it wasn't easy. It was a bad experience. But for now, I mean, I didn't know, but if I were to be that same lady, what I would have done was to just go to the tourist center. So there is a
Mm.
tourist information center at every train station, especially the major train stations, the big train stations. There's a tourist information center. You just need to go there and ask them. And Japanese people are very nice. They love to help people, especially
Oh.
foreigners. So they'll give you a map. They'll tell you, okay, go straight, go like this. They will even draw it for you. They will circle where you're to turn. And sometimes they will even take you there. So, okay, this is the way you go. This is the way you turn, just like that. So if I had known, I would have done that. But I didn't know. I was clueless. So that was a challenge for me then because I was just ignorant.
I like hearing conversations like this and experiences like this because sometimes what is portrayed in the world, like Asians are not friendly, they don't like to see people in their country, you get that portrayed. But the more and more I speak to, especially like Africans in Asia, you find like everybody, they love being in Asia and they don't feel uncomfortable so
Mhm.
far. But when it comes to now the school and your teaching experience, what was it like assimilating the kids, teaching your colleagues? What has it been like?
Oh, okay. Yeah. At first, when I started teaching, like again, it was my first experience. So I really did not know how to teach. I was an ALT. Okay, I started as an ALT, an assistant. And most times, ALTs are just assistants. We don't really teach. We don't take
Yeah.
yeah, there is always a Japanese teacher of English in the classroom. So your job is just to assist. We stand at the back most times. So when I come to the class, I just greet the students and I walk to the back. And at the end of the class, I may not really say so much. I would just have to repeat a word and I'll just say a word and the students will repeat, read a passage or something and the students will repeat and check their work, correct them, correct the sentences, grammar, stuff like that. So that was what I was doing majorly. But for an English teacher, they want you to be friendly. So you have to be friendly. So I had to be friendly. I really did not know how to do that because those kids were very shy. They are shy. Asian or Japanese kids or Japanese students are shy. And I said I was also shy. That was my first experience. I was clueless. Okay. Yes, I've been trained, but training is different from having experience, from experiencing the real things. I
Yeah.
really did not know how to do it at first. But with time, I had to come out of my shell because I'm a bit introverted. People don't really know that. So having to teach kids who are also introverted was a little bit of a challenge. So I had to come out of my shell, try to have conversations with the students to make them free to talk. Because as an ALT, your job is to engage the students in conversations, try to encourage them to speak English, not just what they're being taught in the classroom, but even outside the classroom. So when I see a student, oh, how are you? How was your day? Try to ask questions in English. And for me, I like to mind my business. It's not what I will do on a normal day. It is not my personality. I really do not like that. So teaching here has taught me a lot to come out of my shell, just do the job you're being paid to do, irrespective of your personality. Yeah, that matters, but sometimes you just have to adapt. Just do it. Again, sometimes you meet some students and they'll just ignore you because they are shy and because
Yeah.
they don't want to make mistakes when speaking English. So they try to avoid you. So that can be misunderstood, especially if you are an African teacher, you have a different skin color. That can be misunderstood. I'm not saying they're not kids who are racist. They are, but I have not really experienced it.
Okay.
Some of my friends have. They've said so many things that when I hear, I'm like, wow, this really happened. But for me, I have not really experienced. I have a bad experience teaching the Japanese students. But right now, I'm not an AOT. Now I am
Yeah.
a full-time teacher, like a homeroom teacher. I work in the class with the kids. I say kids because I teach like kids, I teach preschoolers
Okay.
right now. So I'm in the class with them teaching. And your question, how I relate with my colleagues, there is a difference right now. As an ALT, you do not, there is a principal in the school and everything, but you answer directly to your company. So anything
Okay.
I do, I have to tell my company. If they want me to do something, if I want to ask the principal for anything, I have to tell my coordinator who will ask the principal,
The principal.
something like that. Yeah. So my company pay me. They are the ones who give me permission to go on leave or
Yeah.
to go, stuff like that, not the school. So my job is just to teach. And it was a bit awkward because apart from the Japanese English teachers, I was the only English speaker in that school. So
Wow.
relating or building friendships with other teachers was not possible. Like I said, I love to mind my business. So most times they were the ones coming to me because they want to learn English. And yeah, I talk to them. Well, I wouldn't say I had friends. I didn't have friends because at the end of the
Okay.
day, I just go to the teacher's room. I sit down. I just do my work. No one is talking to you. You're not talking to anybody because you are just
That must be
an English teacher.
challenging.
It was very challenging and boring. Boring,
Yeah.
nothing to do, no one to gist with. Compared to
It,
the Nigerian culture when you, you know, I worked in the school with women. So after school, we talk
there's always
about things.
gist.
We gist about different things. Coming here and all I had to do was just sit down and try to get myself busy because there was absolutely nothing to do. I had free time. If I'm not teaching, I'm in the class. I don't really plan lessons because I am not the lead teacher. I was an
Yeah.
assistant. So there was nothing to do. Sometimes just take paper and be writing anything. So that's another thing with the Japanese culture. They just have to see you busy, whether you're writing anything or you're just just pretend to be busy. That's another thing you have to learn if you plan on living in this country. You have to pretend to be busy when you don't have anything doing.
Mm.
It shows that, oh, you're working. You have to like pretend you're writing. It could be A, B, C, D. Just be writing. So I took that time to learn Japanese, to learn like
Oh,
how to learn some katakana and hiragana. Those are the Japanese characters. So I'll just be
okay.
writing, just try to do something because it was very boring. And then when I'm tired of sitting down, I go to the toilet, I look at myself, I take selfies and come back. It was really very boring.
So, no, hearing this from you, it brings me now a little bit to a couple things that you said, on your page, how your second year in Japan was the hardest for you. Um, Take me back to those moments where you were feeling sad, or what was happening inside you or around you. Was it just because you didn't have anyone to talk to, or just the sharp transition from being in a culture where if you turn to the left, there's one Nigerian woman there, or right, was somebody there for you to gist to. Now you're looking at paper writing ABC that you know multiple times.
Yes. Yeah, so those experiences just made me I felt sad. Of course, I felt lonely because where I lived in the countryside and there were almost no blacks there. So the first time I met a black lady was just one day after work. I just decided to go shopping. My instinct told me, you know what, just go to this other supermarket. Just go there. I went there as I was just shopping. I heard someone speak. I heard someone speaking pidgin. I was like, who is that? Who is that person? I was shocked.
Hallelujah.
I was shocked. I was excited. Like I ran and then I met her and then you're Nigerian, just like that. So in Japan, if we meet any African, if in fact it's just outside Japan we do this. Oh, you're from Ghana, you're from Togo. Here in Japan, once you meet a black person, in fact we give this foreigners nod, like I see you, something like that,
Hmm.
like hello. We just say hello. It's easy to relate with someone who has the same skin color as you
Yeah.
because it was so hard for me to find a black person. So that also added to the feeling of loneliness, boredom. I hate being
Mm.
bored. I was bored. I just stay in the teacher's office writing. Yeah, I learned katakana how to write that, but sometimes I get tired. I want to do something else.
Yeah.
But then there was nothing much to do. All I had to do was go to class, stand at the back, do something. So I was really exhausted from doing nothing.
That's
So it's the feeling of loneliness, boredom, being far from your country, just away from the culture and everything. Yeah, that's added to my sadness then.
But yeah, you handled it very well because I feel like from in you know the things that you said, it seems like you learned more about yourself. You learned more about people around you. You learned like one of the things you said about Japanese is like a Japanese person can say, "Oh, you're amazing." That doesn't really mean that you're amazing. I feel like you learned a
Exactly.
lot and made you conscious of like the behaviors of the people around you. So even though yes, you did go through that sadness in that second year, but it seems like also it took time for you to make you a stronger person because now you're like sharing this online. It's like, hey, this happened to me, but look at where I am now. I am in control of that.
Exactly. That's true. So, like I said, the tatamai and hone culture was
Hmm.
another thing because everyone smiles at you. Wow, you're amazing. But it's not. It's not true. So I had an experience when I went to a language school
Mm-hmm.
back then when I was living in the countryside. So it was free and it was from
Hmm.
yeah, I think the government, not really government, volunteers, old people. They just come to volunteer to teach people Japanese for very almost free, like 500 yen, very, very affordable.
Okay.
So I went there with a friend who is Chinese, but she lives in Japan. She speaks Japanese as well. So we went there and I saw one of the women, they were talking and I didn't understand what they were saying. And then she got upset. She was talking to the woman, somehow I was like, what's going on? And then she was like, she didn't say anything. So on our way home, she was telling me
Mm-hmm.
that she said a lot about my country and she is, and the lady was saying it smiling. She said, and she was really smiling. And I looked at her and I was also smiling too. But my friend who understood everything, and she's also a foreigner,
Mm-hmm.
and Japanese and Chinese, they have these issues I don't understand. I don't even want to understand. So she knows how it feels like to be talked down on by a
Yeah.
Japanese person as a foreigner. So she understood that. So she was upset. Like, why are you saying this to her about her country? Because she does not understand Japanese. Like, she was angry. So I did not ask what she said, what the old woman said. I did not ask my friend. I just let it go. But then I stopped going to that class. And that is even
Yeah.
why my Japanese level is very low. Because at that time I was beginning to read those characters. I was making progress in my Japanese language skill abilities. I was making progress. But after that, I said, I beg, I'll just stay in my house because I can't be with people who will smile at you while
Yeah.
talking negative things about you or your country. I wasn't
Mm.
comfortable. So
That,
that's it. They
that's
smile at you. They tell you you're looking good. But within them, just know that, just believe the opposite.
you know
Anything they
rich
tell
belly.
you.
You know rich
Exactly.
belly.
just believe the opposite. And that is because they want to maintain, a peaceful
Yeah.
environment when they're with you. They don't want you to get upset. So they tell you, wow, you look good. Oh wow, your hair is so nice. Oh no, it's not.
Yeah.
And that makes it hard to tell when they are genuine, when they
Or
really mean
not.
something.
Yep.
Yeah, it makes it
Mm-hmm.
hard. That's why I said in that video, it's hard for me to have a close Japanese friend. It's just
Yeah.
difficult. I'll just stay with my African brothers and sisters.
Yeah, because you found a young African group that you started to hang out with, and also your church, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen you. Not that that your church. I've seen the music. Sometimes when I saw the video, I was like, that Japan. I'll be there in one place in Surulere there.
That's the I mean the church is also where I find, I have
Yeah.
this community. I make friends. And that was one of the reasons I had to leave the countryside and move to where I
Okay.
am, which is Osaka, because I wanted to go to church. And Christianity in Japan is like 1%. It's not really
Yeah.
Buddhism is what is really practiced in this country. So
Okay.
finding a church for like one whole year, I didn't go to church. And that's unlike me because I am a church girl right from home. So it wasn't my thing. So coming here, seeing a church where I can find Africans, Nigerians, Cameroonians, West Africans.
That's
It
good.
was really very good. Yeah. So having that community really helped me come out of this loneliness because when I go to church, I meet people, we talk, we gist. And after Sunday, everyone, we go back to our various
Word.
companies work where we meet Japanese people. And for those who are ALTs, they still have to be mute because they can't speak Japanese. They can't make friends. They just have to try to fit in. So, but on Sundays, we are ourselves. We speak our pidgin. We eat our African food after church. We gist. We just express ourselves. So, yeah, we can make noise. But here, we can't do that.
Well, it's good when you have that community. I think that's very important. I had a Nigerian lady that was from Thailand that came, and that was one of the big things for her. She was talking about how she had to drive, hours just to go to her church in Thailand, but it gave her comfort, and she loved it.
Mm.
I wanted to go back to ALT, and the reason why is because you did talk about different kind of visas that you can get. Some of them is like scholarship. Like, tell me a little bit in a broad way about these ways that people could come to Japan, either on scholarship, learning calligraphy. Like you talked a little bit about a couple of them. So please share.
Yeah, so I talked about coming as a language student, and that's
Yeah.
because there are language schools in Japan who sponsor visas for foreigners, people outside Japan. So if you want to learn Japanese, you can actually apply to a Japanese school, and if you're given admission, you'll be given COE, which is like in the UK they call it COS, which is like the
Okay.
certificate of eligibility. And without that certificate, you cannot apply for a visa. So with your COE, you can go to the embassy and apply for a visa. And you'll be given a student visa to come learn Japanese because you'll be a Japanese language student. So with that visa, after your course, you can start working. You can also work with the visa as well for like 28 hours per
Oh,
week. Yeah. So after that, you can transition. And I always encourage people to come through that route because not just that you're able to work, but after then you will know how to speak Japanese, which is very good. Because some of us, we cannot pivot, we cannot decide to do anything else except teaching because we don't
mm,
speak the language. But when you speak Japanese, when you've learned it, the language, you can read to a large extent. You can even take an exam, N2 exam. There is a certain exam they take which shows your Japanese proficiency level. So if you
okay.
go apply to some companies without certificates, you will have an edge. So in fact, for me, I can't even try it because I don't even speak Japanese. And if I want to decide to work somewhere else, let's just say, oh, I'm tired of teaching. I want to do something else. For me, I am stuck because I do not speak Japanese. But for someone can speak, read Japanese, you have a plethora of opportunities to work in different sectors.
And this is kind of like the things I tell people, like, you don't need an agent. You just need a laptop, a
Yeah.
certificate, and a belief that you deserve more to do these things. There's opportunities all over the world that this information, and I'm glad that you're sharing this. I'm glad that you do what you do on TikTok, and I hope people go on your page. I know you said you used to hold like sessions where you actually like teach people, but you stopped that now.
Yes, I
But
have.
I can imagine, because even with this, trust me, I get a lot of questions now. But I want us to sit in a heavier moment, right?
Okay.
You shared an uncomfortable truth that you were harassed by an African man in Japan. How did that moment change you, and what conversations do you think we as Africans abroad need to have with each other about safety?
Okay, so the first question, how did that experience change me? I think it made me more conscious of my boundaries. In fact, I have stronger boundaries right now
Mm.
because normally, okay, I mentioned it in my video, I do not accept male visitors in my house because I am a single woman. So what are they coming to do? I don't know. So that is one boundary I set, and that is it. So for that experience, I was disappointed because this was someone who is an African, an Igbo man for that matter, the same country, the same tribe. So why are you trying to do that? And what
Yeah.
pains me the most is that this same man will not try this with a Japanese woman. So that it's very painful. It shows that, oh, you can actually respect a Japanese woman, but you chose to disrespect your fellow African, your fellow sister,
Yeah.
because of, I don't know, it doesn't really make sense. So, yeah. So I feel it really made my boundaries stronger. When I meet Africans here, I am careful. I don't really have so many African friends, but I can relate with Africans. If I meet an African, okay, it's just for that moment. But after that, like in church, when I meet someone, okay, we just say hello, hi, we talk about different things. After that, I go back home.
Yeah.
There are boundaries. So boundaries in friendship. I do not make everyone my friend. Yes, we are Africans, but no, you cannot just be my friend because I have a very small circle. And for the conversations Africans need to have, especially the men, that is it. The same thing I said, you cannot do this to an, a Japanese woman. You cannot try this with maybe a white woman, but you want to try it with your sisters. It shows you don't have respect for us.
Yeah.
I also spoke to my colleague who is also African. She is from Malawi. And she told me the same thing. She was like, wow, one of her friends was almost raped by a man. This one, like he was really forcing himself on her. She had to push him and run out in the same country. And when I asked, oh, where is this man from? She said, your brother. He's from Nigeria. I was so embarrassed.
Niger.
And when I made that video, in the comments, I saw a lot of women talking about it. They said, yes, it has happened to them. It is. So it means that our African brothers have already decided that, oh, they're not going to respect us because we are Africans. We understand, the nonsense. We can take the nonsense they dish out. But you can never try that with the Japanese because here, the Japanese law is very protective of their women. But, Africans, we are not really, it's just recently that women are beginning to speak out and to, protect themselves. But the law does not really protect us. So a typical African man has no respect for African women because they feel where we're coming from. There is nothing protecting you guys. So what makes you think you'll come here and, you know, you want us to respect you? That was how I saw it. That was what I, perceived from that whole experience. I felt totally disrespected by that man and by African men in general, because a lot of them did the same thing to they do the same thing to African women and they think they can go away with it. So we just need to have a conversation, or African men need to have that conversation. First of all, they need to know that they're not even in Africa. So if I had
Yeah.
reported that guy, honestly, despite the fact that I can't speak Japanese, I can just talk to someone who will help me report him to the police. And that will be tough because the policemen or let's say policemen. No one wants to go to jail in Japan because it's very terrible. The Japanese are
Really?
very tough when it comes to punishing African men.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's yeah. So the thing in this country is, if I had had that experience with a Japanese man, yeah, maybe I would have talked about it, but I don't think I will win because I am African. They will always support their own. But if it's between myself and my fellow Africans, they will actually deal with the man. They will deal. So that's one thing about the culture that is
Hmm.
really, I don't know, but I think it's everywhere.
And to some extent, I would say, because I feel like here in America, if there's an obvious fact, you will be persecuted. At
Yeah.
least here in America, that I know, it doesn't excuse the fact of what they're doing in like the Africans, and I do apologize on behalf of my gender. We're not all that way, and these are the few
Yeah.
decomposed that they need to send back home, and when they send them back home, we need to send them somewhere where we can give them better home training. I think.
Yeah, they just need
But
to change their mentality. They're not in Africa anymore. So things have changed. If you're doing that and going free in Africa, you can't do that here because it is not Africa. In
oh,
fact, generally, just respect women.
yes, anywhere in the world. I mean, you get mama, you get sister, Abby.
Of course.
So you have to treat everybody with respect, and you should see your mom or your sister or your daughter in a woman. I saw what's up with the black Taiwanese egg. What was going on? Like
Oh,
when you crack that
I
thing, and that I was like, "You want chopper?"
actually ate it.
I was like, "But you said it was delicious."
It was. And it's still part of, the culture. I had a friend who was, I think, half Singaporean and half Japanese. So he was the one who brought the egg and was like, you know what, you should try this. And I was like, okay, it's black. And then I tried it. Wow, it was good. So
Hmm.
that's one of the things of living outside Africa or outside Nigeria. You see different things, you try different things, different foods. And it wasn't bad, but I'm sure a typical Nigerian will not eat that egg.
I won't. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I won't. And then I saw a couple of funny clips when you found out about the toilet cleaner wipes. Then you were took you a while. It
Lord.
took you a while until you ran into the English version. You're like,
Yeah,
well,
I'm like,
that
wow.
was
Oh my God. It was really shocking to me because I was like, you know what? It's just wipes. You go to the toilet, there is tissue paper, there is wipes. You should use wipes. I kept on using that until just one day it was changed to a different brand. And this brand had an English translation. So I was like, okay, let me read. I'm like, toilet seat cleaner. Wow. So it was actually to wipe the toilet seat before sitting, but I used it the other way. Very
uh,
embarrassing, but
no, but all
yeah.
of it is kind of like the learning experience, the culture shock, and you said if you have your own story to tell. Um, I want to use one funny video that you did, and then I want to ask you this question: the one where you were trying to show us how much you saved in Japan, and then you brought up coins. So, is it expensive to live in Japan? Like, can you save? Because when I saw your jar, I could count how much was inside.
Well, it's actually it's not so expensive to live in Japan. I think Japan is affordable. As long
Okay.
as you have a job, you can pay your bills, you can also save. That also depends on one's lifestyle. If you're someone who just likes to go out, eat out, just spend money, then it will be difficult for you to save. But yes, it is possible to save in Japan. And I wouldn't say Japan is expensive to live in. It all depends
You
on the city. Like cities like Tokyo, of course. I mean,
okay?
the cost of living is higher in Tokyo. But I live in Osaka, and Osaka is also a very popular city. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't say my cost of living here is high. In fact, my rent and everything, when I tell people how much I pay for rent, bills, light bill, water bill, they are shocked. So it all depends on, I think it all depends on what you want. Because if you are
Okay.
looking for a house, you should have a budget. So if you're able to live within your budget, then yes, you can save. And when I mean live within your budget, I don't mean you will not eat good food. You will not, go out, because I don't do that at all. I live my life. I eat well. I go out, have lunch with friends, and yes, I'm still able to save because I always work with a budget. I have a budget every month. Bills, what I pay like 50,000 yen for my rent, my light, my water and gas, everything a month. You know how much that is in dollars?
Hey, let's see. 50,000 yen. What? That's $321.
Oh yes, do. Yeah, some people pay 50,000 yen for just the rent, but mine is inclusive of my bills as well.
Yes,
But
that's
yeah, so people pay 50, 60, 70,000 yen for just the rent, and then they pay bills, and it all depends on your budget, what you're looking out for, what the kind of house you want to live in. Because I live in a studio apartment, like 1K apartment, which is just okay for a single person. I'm not
yeah.
married. I'm single. So yeah. So for me, the cost of living in Japan is not high. It's not expensive to live in Japan. I don't think I'm spending too much. At the end of the month, I can save like 50% of my salary actually, and
That is
use the
amazing.
rest to sort my bills, take care of myself, and yeah, support people outside Japan, just like that.
You pay the black tax, send small
Yeah.
thing to the house.
Yes.
I totally understand that. And obviously, you're in a safe place. You talk about how your packages are safe, and also you talk about how many years it takes for your Amazon package to come to Japan. I'm like, is Amazon not in Japan?
Yeah, Amazon is in Japan, but there are some items that they have to ship from maybe US or another country.
Wow.
You can't really find everything on Amazon. There are some products that,
Uh,
yeah, when I look or when I try to find them on Amazon, I can't. It's not here. Maybe because of the custom laws or something. We don't have some items here in Japan. So sometimes you have to buy from Amazon US and then they have to
yeah.
ship to you, which takes days. But for that video, I actually ordered the item on Amazon
Okay.
Japan. But they had to ship from outside Japan, which took a while. So it happens sometimes. You don't find
Okay.
everything here. Yes, but talking about safety, that is one
Yes.
of the advantages of living in Japan. I mean, you can come home, you can find your stuff. They don't really steal. They don't steal here because Japanese people have integrity. So
Mm,
stealing is like saying they are, you know, it's not part of their culture to steal. It's outside their culture to steal. It is outside their culture to uh, not to give their best as well. So if you're working with a Japanese person, the person puts his heart into what he or she is doing. So
That's amazing.
working haphazardly is not part of their culture. You giving your best or transparent when doing business with people. I find it very, very easy. Like when I was finding an apartment, when I was looking for an apartment, it was very
Yeah.
easy for me to communicate with the agent and everything, send money, pay money, fix my Wi-Fi because they are very transparent.
That's
So
good.
yeah, things are safe. You come home, you find your stuff where you left. The only thing people take is your umbrella. So we have this uniform umbrella in Japan, very transparent.
But is there no umbrella and vending
It's an
machine over there?
Well, that particular one, you can't find it. I don't think there's a
Oh,
vending machine that sells that particular umbrella. It's very big. And when it's
okay.
raining, that's what almost everyone uses. We use that umbrella. So on this day, I went to work just opposite my school. I just decided to go to the convenience store to get something. And so I put my umbrella there was a stand outside. You put your umbrella
Yeah.
in and you walk inside. I got what I wanted to get and it came out and I couldn't find my umbrella. And it was raining heavily. I was like, where is it? Oh my
You
God.
borrowed it.
I had to walk and cross the road in the rain and went into the school. I was like, "Oh, why? Where is my? I was so sad. Someone just came and took it just like that. So that's the only thing that. And after work, I went there and I saw another umbrella and I took it. I didn't know if it was mine or not. It looked like mine because it's a uniform umbrella. So I
They
took it and
used
I
it
went
and brought
home.
it
Like,
back.
yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure. Maybe it belonged
We'll
to
take
someone
it as
else,
that.
but yeah, let's take it as that. But that is the only thing that can go missing in Japan.
Mm,
Umbrella.
okay.
But
Good
every
to
other
know.
thing, yeah, it's actually. So I had this experience when I moved and I wanted to connect my Wi-Fi. So I messaged the guy. Someone referred him to me. I messaged him, and we were going back and forth on the payment. And I was like, you know what, send it. I will pay cash on delivery. And he was like, okay. And on the second thought, I was like, you know what, let me just send the money to him. And then I'll tell him, okay, I've transferred the money. So I transferred the money and I told him, you know what, don't worry, I have transferred the money already. Let's just. And he was like, oh no, the item is being sent to you right now, but we cannot, you have to pay on delivery. So the guy is coming to you, you have to pay him cash, not, I couldn't change my option. So it was just
Hmm.
going back and forth. And he was like, we'll refund you after 1 week. When they do it at the end of the week, I think they do this.
Yeah.
I don't know what they call it. And I was like, I was like, it was not clear to me. I was like, you know what? Are you trying to scam me? Let me tell you something. I'm a Nigerian girl. It wasn't clear to me because I was still very new. It wasn't clear to me. And I saw no reason why he would take 1 week to refund my money. And then the guy
Yeah.
came and I had to give him another money. So you have like double of my money with you.
Yeah.
And it had to take 1 week. Why? So I was going back and forth. Why? Just send me my money. So I was like, I am a Nigerian girl. You cannot scam me. Let me tell you something. And he was like, no, no, please, I beg you. And
Aw.
so I spoke to my friend who called the guy because he referred him to me. And he was like, and then he called me like, don't do that. I mean, these people are not scammers. You will get your money. Just calm down. But the Nigerian in me then was like, and no, it was because it wasn't clear. Yeah. And of course, I've heard of people scamming people online because I've not met him. People from different countries that come here, they scam
Hmm.
Facebook through this Facebook. It happens in Japan.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, you cannot scam me. Oh. Let me tell you something. You produce that money before. Oh, but at the end of the day, I had to apologize to him. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was so embarrassed. I was like, what? I have to get rid of Nigerian, this Nigerian attitude that you feel everybody just wants to scam you. There are people that
Uh,
are genuine, but they just follow protocols. Like Japanese people like to do things, they follow the protocol. They will send you the money after a week. That's the way they do. That's the protocol. So that was what the guy was trying to explain to me. But I was
I'm not
so
gonna lie, that upsets me. Even here in America too, sometimes you pay for something and you're like, "Oh, I've returned it. I need my money back," and they'll tell you
yeah.
6 to 12 businesses. I was like, didn't I just give you the money now?
Yeah, just,
Didn't I just give? Which one is 6 to 12 business days? Oh, Benny, give me my money back. Why are we waiting?
yeah,
So
that was
that
it.
one it still upsets me here when that happens. But I know you said, oh, you live in a studio, you're a single lady. What's it like dating in Japan? With everything that you've said and the people keeping to themselves and few Africans, like within our community, what is it like? If a single lady is leaving Nigeria, South Africa, Tanzania, going to Japan, is there a potential prospect for them to say they have that opportunity to meet a significant other, or they're going to struggle when it comes to that aspect of relationships?
I think dating is personal. I said personal in the sense that it depends on what you're looking out for, what you want.
Mhm.
So if you just want to meet someone and just get married, just like that, you don't care about any other thing else, maybe it's possible. Maybe you can just find an African man and just marry him, regardless of his character, regardless of anything. And I think it's possible for those who just want to get married. Again, if you're an African and you want to date an African man or an African woman, because there are people that will tell you, you know what, Japanese, I'm not attracted to a Japanese man or a Japanese woman. I just want an African man or woman. That may be a bit difficult in Japan because
Hmm.
the African community is smaller in Japan than it is in other countries.
Yeah.
So it may be difficult. But for me, I will not say it hasn't been so bad because, like I said, I have boundaries. I can't just
Yeah.
meet you today and you want me to come to your house tomorrow. That is not happening. So, yeah,
Netflix and chill.
I have met a lot of, African men who are sensible. And
Okay.
honestly, I have not really met more Nigerian men. Like the experience I had with one
Mm.
Nigerian man that I shared on TikTok is just one out of the numerous African men I've met. So, which is so
Yeah.
sad because my brother, my fellow Nigerian brother, is doing something bad to me. But yeah, I really like, yeah, and again, sometimes when I meet people, I just want to be friends. We don't have to start dating.
Yeah, that's true.
But in Japan, because of the loneliness, everyone is looking for someone. Like now,
Yeah.
it's December, it's getting colder. Very soon, we'll be on holiday. A lot of people are looking for where to go. You want to go to a man's house. That loneliness, you just want to be with someone, can make someone desperate and they'll just date anybody. But what I'll
Oh,
advise someone coming here, just be careful. Because of the small African community, everyone knows one another. We all know one another. There's this person, doesn't work, you go here. This person knows the person that knows this person that knows this person.
they'll, they
So
have a file for you very soon.
exactly. So you have to be very careful about that. But it's not so bad. So when you find someone you really like, because I think I've tried to date someone, but it did not work out because of something, which is character abuse. Which I maybe I may talk about that later. But
Yeah.
yeah, just character, just something that yes can be worked on. But maybe we decided not to work on it because we felt we are both very stubborn, so we decided to just move on.
Fair enough.
Yes, but yeah, he was a nice person, but he wasn't Nigerian. I think he was Ghanaian. And
Oh.
I'm not trying to be partial or something, but I feel I flow more with Ghanaians than
Hmm.
I know some people may come for me, especially my African people may come for me for saying this, because my very good friend, female friend, she's Ghanaian. We met in church and she's like my sister. She's
Yeah.
she's from Ghana. So I find Ghanaians more easygoing than my fellow Nigerians.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That,
So yeah, that's nice. So another thing I want to say is about how convenient it can be when you are dating someone in Japan. That is when you finally find someone. Because of the comforts living in this country, it's actually comfortable. You can afford some basic things. You can actually commute easily to go see whomever you want to see. It's comfortable. You can go out for lunch. You don't spend too much because the cost of living is not so high. You don't spend compared to what I hear. When I hear people complain about my country, you go here, this one is billing you. Here it's not, no one is billing you because we can actually afford to feed ourselves. We can pay our bills, we go to work.
this.
So when you're dating someone from that level, when you're dating someone from that level, I mean, you are not desperate. You're not looking for someone that will buy you hair, someone that will feed you, because you can actually do that on your own. So it's actually easy to date in this country. Again, like I said, the economy, it's kind of friendly. The cost of living is not so high. So it's nothing. You can actually date comfortably in Japan when you meet the person. But the
Yeah.
dating community, the African community is very small for those who want to marry or date just Africans. And for me, I prefer to be with my fellow Africans because I feel more comfortable with my fellow Africans. I can relate. I don't want to go on a date with someone and I begin to tell you about jollof rice. You begin to ask me, okay, how did you prepare jollof rice? The Igbo language. Honestly, I find it exhausting to an
Yeah.
extent. It's fun at first when you meet someone from a different race and you're talking about, especially Japanese, they don't really know much about Africans. They don't know about the Nigerian culture. So they want to learn about it. And it's
Hmm.
fun talking about it, but gets to a point where it's boring. Use
Interesting.
Google.
Yeah.
It's boring,
Uh,
especially when you want to date someone. I cannot come on. I want to get to know you. I don't want to talk about African food all the time. How to prepare egusi soup, how to prepare jollof rice.
it turned you to encyclopedia for questions
Exactly.
on Africa.
So just
I know.
Google. So
Uh,
again, when I meet my Africans, I can speak pidgin. We relate. We know it's very easy to get along with an
be
African.
yourself.
Yeah, be yourself exactly. So it's more comfortable for me to date an African in Japan than to date someone who is not an African, a non-African. That's it.
Uh,
But it's quite challenging though.
that's interesting to know, and I like the something that you said, which hopefully because I'm going to have this segment, episode that's going to come up probably next season, and hopefully you'll be available to talk about this. You said something that I think is something we need to discuss as Africans, and my experience is Nigeria, my country too. It's this billing thing, and
Yeah.
you said something that was very important, I think, and I think it's a very good debate. Is this happening because of poverty, or is it happening because this is an expectation from the society? Because what you just said is like, I can do anything for myself. I don't really need this person, but that one, we're gonna come back to that one. Sit down, because I feel like as a woman, I want to hear perspectives from Africans, like not just Nigerians, but we'll have that discussion. But let's play a game, right? I feel
Okay.
like we've been talking very serious, and this is one of my favorite segments in the podcast, right? And it's kind of like what I call get to know your country, which is where you are, Japan. Couple questions, and you're gonna say today's one is pretty much true or false.
Okay.
You just tell us if it's true or it's false, and we'll go from there. Okay. So, are you ready?
Okay. Yes.
So, true or false, you can buy hot meals, umbrellas, and even fresh eggs from a Japanese vending machine.
True.
Yes. Japan is, I think they have a very big vending machine culture. So,
Yes.
it's interesting.
You can also buy fresh fruit juice made by the vending machine.
Nice. Okay. True or false? Slurping your noodles loudly in Japan is considered rude and disrespectful.
False. That is false.
Apparently, they say slurping it makes the chef
Yeah.
feel like, yes, like my food is
Yes.
delicious. I'm like,
Exactly.
this is something that your mom
Butter.
will place conch on your head for in Nigeria. Okay. True or false? The world's first novel was written in Japan.
I'll say false.
It's true. The
Is it
Tale
true?
of
I don't know.
Genji. Yeah, that's why the Tale of Genji, it was written
Okay.
in 1000 AD by Murasaki Shikibu. That was the first novel in the world. So
In the
Japan
world.
got that one.
Okay.
True or false? The world's busiest pedestrian crossing is in the Shibuya Scramble in Tokyo.
True. Very true.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that it's like everybody in all directions just coming.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'll visit there someday.
Okay, well, let us make sure you drop that clip on TikTok. We're gonna like. True or false? Japan's famous bullet train, the Shinkansen, is known for being on time to the exact second.
Very true.
Yeah, I
All
heard.
trains.
Yeah, they said if they're late, they have to apologize.
Yes.
I was
Sometimes,
like,
if the train is late and you have to go to work, and you have to inform your manager when you get to work, there's a certificate you can get.
yeah, I heard about
Yeah,
that.
you just go online on the train line website, print the certificate, and then submit it, and then there will be no deductions whatsoever.
That's
No
nice.
deductions
Wow.
whatsoever.
Okay. True or false? In some parts of Japan, there are more pets than children.
True. That is what they said. Who have not been there.
Yeah, they said there's an island where it's just cats on an island. I was like, what is going on?
I haven't been there, but yeah, I heard it.
Okay. Okay. Well, whenever you get there, please let us know. We know Africans don't like cats.
Sure.
So, they'll be calling principalities and power when it comes to cats. I'm like, hey, it's just a cat. So, next one is a rapid fire segment. And this segment, you just try to tell me one word or one sentence, kind of like a one word or sentence answer to this question. Okay. You ready?
Okay.
What's the hardest part of Japan?
Being most times the only Black person.
Okay.
On a train or in a gathering. Very challenging.
Okay.
I mean, you look left. Okay, last week I attended a concert somehow, and it was by a Jamaican man. he has lived in Japan for 25 years. But when I got there, I noticed I was the only black person. So I was like, I wasn't so comfortable. But I mean, it happens a lot. On the train, you're the only black person. At the
Mhm.
supermarkets, you're only the black person most times. So yeah, it's really hard because you just feel different and all eyes on you, you know. You're very easy to spot. So if you do anything, they could just get you.
But that doesn't affect the whole Ganji spot, right? That you talked about,
Oh,
the
gaijin.
whole gaijin.
In a way, gaijin sits. In a way, it doesn't.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. We got 6 more to go. Very fast. Okay. What can Africans learn from Japanese?
Mm, to be hardworking.
Okay. What can Japanese learn from Africans?
To be open-minded.
One thing you would never get used to in Japan.
Tatamae and one culture.
Okay. One thing you wish you knew before leaving Nigeria.
Learning Japanese is important.
What's one Japanese habit you now love?
Punctuality.
If you could restart, would you still choose Japan?
Yes, I will.
That's amazing. That's good. Not many people say that. That's great. That's great. Okay. So I want you to speak directly to one person watching this episode who is scared, who is unsure, lost, or feels like relocation is only for special people. What would you say to them?
I would say be brave, take the bold step because I mean there are challenges everywhere. Even if you go to America, you will still find some cultural shocks, right? You'll still have to adapt. So be open
Yeah,
minded, be willing to learn, be willing to grow, be have respect for people's culture. That will help you live easily with different people. Because once you're outside Japan, you're going to meet a plethora of people from different nationalities. So having that open-mindedness and that respect for culture will help you live peacefully with these people. So also do not forget who you are. Do not forget where you're coming from. Living in a different country should not change who you truly are as a person. You don't have to forget your culture. You don't have to forget what makes you you, if that makes sense. And like I said,
yeah,
be intentional about your life. The fact that you're living in a place does not mean you have to remain there forever. The fact that you're doing a particular job does not mean you should do that forever. Be intentional, be passionate about growth, be passionate about, coming out of your shell and just maximizing your potential as a person. That is important. So if you want to move to Japan, if you want to move to any other country, ensure you're going there with the intention to grow, the intention to be a better person, and also the intention to maximize your potential. Yeah, that's all.
that's great. When we first talked, one
Yeah.
of the things you did tell me was you love to talk about personal development. And when I went through your Instagram and I went through your TikTok, it does show that personal development. You have definitely, I mean, being a black woman, an African, a Nigerian in a country where when you walk out, it takes a long time for you to see someone that looks like you. That is bravery. And I do applaud you. Like, I mean, it's phenomenal what you're doing. And I hope
Thank
more
you.
women and more people would take that step to like step out of their comfort zone, take that leap. Like you said, personal development, develop yourself. It costs you no education gained is ever
Yeah.
lost because it's yours. Nobody can take that from you. And I hope people would take that bold step. And like I said, yeah, there's so many countries. Now 1059 she used to go Japan for visa and they didn't, and if she didn't give her the visa, they would have not
Collected the
taken her
money.
money. Sometimes it's not America, it's not Canada, it's not UK. You might do better in another place. And even if that's where you want to be, you can start somewhere else. Learn. Trust me. Today, Shallydee is in Japan with all this experience. I'm pretty sure if she says she wants to go to UK or Canada or relocate and there's a company and they're like, wow, you've been in Japan this long and you're African, she is a better candidate than a lot of people. So I do applaud you once again.
Thank you
And
so much.
no, absolutely. And before you go, you got to teach us something
Okay.
in Japanese. I know you've been saying, no, we'll learn today. And then something else in Igbo also. So please, I'm willing. I have my pen here, ready to learn.
Okay. How to say thank you
Okay.
in Japan is very easy. Just say arigato gozaimasu.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Yes, that's very easy. It means thank you very much in
Thank you
Japan.
very much.
And I want to also say one more thing. Sorry. If you meet
Sure.
someone for the first time
Yeah.
and after introducing yourself, you say yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Okay. One more time.
Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. That means nice to meet
Yoroshiku
you.
onegaishimasu.
Onegaishimasu. Yeah.
Okay.
Yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Yes. And then you take a bow. Like we do that a lot here.
Your
So even when you
students
say
bow to
arigato,
you?
yeah, gosh, I mean, if I go to my country, I just hope I wouldn't be bowing to everybody because I'm very used to it. The students, of course, the bow when greeting you, when I meet people, even when I meet older people, they bow to
They
me and I'm
bow.
like, wow, that's a lot. How can you meet someone who is 100, he or she is so excited to see you and they're bowing and I'm like, it was a shock to me at first. I was like, no, in my country it's the other way around. You don't have to bow to me. You're 100 years. So yes, bowing is part of the culture. Yeah.
Okay. So in Igbo, what are you teaching us?
Igbo has to say thank you.
Okay.
Imela.
Imela. I know that song.
Oh,
Imela.
it's very easy.
Imela. And then arigato gozaimasu.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Okay. Arigato gozaimasu for Japan and imela for
Imela.
Igbo.
Igbo. So simple.
Thank you. Thank you so much for stopping by, Shallydee.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to put all this information in the description on YouTube, the links, the websites. I probably will get some of those from you so I can put it on there. I'll put your information and your page. You guys can follow on TikTok. She has a lot of information. And just like I said, it's like, just try, make effort, take that leap, take that step. Shalidee's story is proof of something we forget. Sometimes the only thing standing between you and a new life is information and the courage to believe that your name belongs on that application. So you don't need any agents, you don't need shortcuts, just clarity, consistency, and a plan. And just listening to her journey, how she's evolved over time, just tells you that you can also do it, and just make that leap. If you've learned something today from this, hit subscribe. Just that click is the currency that keeps this show alive. And hopefully, Shallydee, you're gonna come back on YouTube also, so that people can keep watching your story. But for Continentals, until next time, stay real, stay connected, and keep the mic alive. So thank you once again for coming. Arigato
Gozaimasu. Arigato gozaimasu.
They will really drag me, the Japanese shaggy out of me.